Hello, welcome, good morning. Welcome to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Wednesday, February the 11th. We're here to look at the new releases published this week in crime fiction and thrillers, so the darker side. Mondays we look at cozies, Wednesdays we look at the darker side. Hope you're having a good day. Quick announcements. I don't do any sprints tonight. I don't do them on Wednesday night. Our next reading sprints are tomorrow night, Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. We do every Tuesday and Thursday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern and Saturday afternoons at 3. Let's jump in. That a little bit. Okay, this apparently comes out tomorrow. Three Marys by Glenn Cooper, fourth in the Cal Donovan Vatican conspiracy thrillers. Right up my garbogest alley. Do you believe in miracles? 3 impossible births, 3 incredible miracles, 1 deadly secret. When 3 teenage girls in Mexico, the United States, and Ireland discover they are pregnant, each swears she's still a virgin, and medical tests prove them right. All 3 are Catholic, all 3 saw a blinding light before blacking out, and all 3 share the same name, Mary. In Rome, a stunned Pope Cestiline turns to Harvard professor Cal Donovan, his trusted expert in religion and archaeology, to investigate a phenomenon that looks terrifyingly like a replay of the Annunciation on a global scale. As news of the 3 Marys breaks, pilgrims flood the girls' homes, the media fuels a storm of hope and outrage, and powerful factions inside and outside the Vatican scramble to seize control of the miracle. Cal's investigation pulls him from the shadowed corridors of the Vatican to dusty border towns and the windswept Irish coast, where he begins to suspect that something far more calculated than a miracle is unfolding. When a colleague is kidnapped and the 3 girls vanish into a heavily guarded American estate, Cal finds himself facing a conspiracy willing to rewrite doctrine, weaponize faith, and sacrifice the Marys to a cause they barely understand. As I say, right up my garbogest alley. A Killer Guest List by Sarah Bonner. You're cordially invited to Murder on the Moors, the most glamorous murder mystery event of the season. Sadie has attended Murder on the Moors at a luxury country house hotel in Dartmoor for the past 50 years. This time, she's bringing her goddaughter, but what the girl doesn't know is that the game is merely a cover for Sadie's darker predilections. Cassie's weekend at the hotel is more of a work trip for her wife, though she's looking forward to relaxing in the swanky surroundings, plus a little fun detective work. She doesn't realize that the game is about to reveal some shocking truths, because this year, someone new has taken over the murder mystery event, someone who knows exactly who Sadie is, and who has compiled a dossier of crimes committed by the other guests, someone with a hit list. The only chance of staying one step ahead and not being murdered for real is to slay together. Greg Hurwitz has a new one in his Orphan X series. This is 11th in that series. This is called Anti-Hero. Once a Black Ops assassin for the government known as Orphan X, or 10, whichever way you want to go, Evan Smoke broke with the program and went deep underground, using his operational rules and skills to help the truly desperate with nowhere else to turn. When Luke Devine, one of the most powerful men in the world, has a psychological crisis, Evan flies to the East Coast to help him. While there, he learns of a young woman who was kidnapped off the New York City subway, clearly in danger and in need of aid. With no name and few clues, Evan and his team track down the missing woman who was assaulted and abandoned. Evan offers his help and sets out finding the young men responsible, but the woman insists that Evan abandon his usual methods, no vengeance, and in particular, no killing, which will prove no easy feat given the mounting incoming threats from all sides. In a mission that takes Evan from coast to coast, from the poorest corners of society to the richest, Orphan X must figure out a way to protect the innocent, avenge the victimized, and balance justice with a measure of mercy. Brad Thor has a new one. A Vanished Plane, an Earth-Shattering Secret, a Countdown to World War III. Hemisphere Airlines Flight 777, the most advanced jetliner ever built, disappears without a trace over the North Pole. Crippled by sabotage, it crash lands on the ice, stranding the surviving passengers in a wasteland of frigid cold and chaos. The real storm, however, is still coming. Hidden inside the wreckage is the prototype for a revolutionary piece of technology that could upend the balance of world power. Now Washington, Moscow, and Beijing are racing to be the first on scene to retrieve it at any cost. Trapped in the middle of the world's most dangerous flashpoint are CIA operative Casey Sheridan and former fighter pilot turned first officer Brett Sharp. Hunted by enemy forces, they must spirit both the device and its creator across the ice to safety before rival superpowers turn the Arctic into a war zone. With the clock ticking and the temperature dropping, the fate of the free world is about to be decided at the top of the globe. What trip would take you that far north? End of row 1. James Patterson's World has a new one. 35th in the Alex Cross series by James Patterson and Brian Sitz. Cross and Sampson. Oh, apparently he has a miniseries, season 2, starting in Washington, D.C. Metro PD Detective John Sampson stands in a crater in the middle of the D.C. street calling in the bomb squad. Dispatch, this is Sampson. Contact the FBI and the ATF. We've got a suspected terrorist attack here. In Chapel Hill, North Carolina, Alex Cross searches the apartment of a missing psychology grad student. His own son, Damon, has, following in his famous father's footsteps, made Damon a target. From FBI headquarters, in police stations, on airplanes, and at murder scenes, the detectives track crimes committed hundreds of miles apart. It will take more than distance to weaken the partnership of Sampson and Cross. That is quite the cover. First Date by Gemma Amor. Across the top it says, "This is not a love story." Deciding to end years of loneliness, Amandine takes a leap of faith and enters the dating pool. After seemingly endless disappointments, it seems her luck has changed when she meets Connor, another lonely heart. What starts as a dinner date ends in a night that will change their lives forever, for neither of them knows that they are being watched by a killer whose primary target is happy couples. Soon, Amandine and Connor will find themselves fighting for their lives. Their only chance of survival lies in each other, but can they work as a team to escape before their time runs out? And even if they do, will they ever be able to escape each other? Probably not a great start. That might win worst first date. Murder Bimbo by Rebecca Novak. A 32-year-old sex worker is shocked when she's approached by undercover government agents to aid them in a top-secret plot to assassinate a politician known as Meatneck. But once the deed is done, she realizes what made her the perfect recruit. She's 100% disposable. Holed up in an off-the-grid cabin in the woods, she now has only 2 days, her wits, and her laptop to save her own life. Her best bet is to reach out to the wildly popular feminist investigative podcast Justice for Bimbos. In a hastily typed series of emails, the newly minted Murder Bimbo explains how she was recruited and then trained by a cabal of code-named U.S. agents to take out Meatneck. Then she opens a new email. This time it's addressed to her ex, and the facts line up a little differently. ... This cover is very yellow. Our Beautiful Mess by Adele Parks. Connie can't wait to have all her daughters back for Home for Christmas, it's not just the excitement of the girls being together under one roof. Uni student Fran is bringing a new boyfriend to stay. The empty nest will once again be full of friends, family, and young love. Yet, from the moment she sees Zach, Connie feels a deep unease. Zach reminds her of the worst mistake she has ever made, a man whose charm and good looks nearly destroyed her marriage. Then Fran announces she's pregnant. Reeling from Fran's news and terrified that her past might threaten her family's future, Connie desperately tries to navigate a path forward. But there's a much greater menace looming because she's not the only one who has something to hide. Someone in the house has another devastating secret, a deception which will put everyone Connie loves in shocking danger, and one of them will pay the ultimate price. End of that road. Ours is a Tale of Murder by Nora Murphy. One quiet neighborhood, 3 different families bound by murder. Clara never wanted the house with the white picket fence. Troy never wanted anything else. Nothing is quite right with this happy couple, but isn't every home hiding something? Mary, the mother in the blue house, is cleaning out her son's old room before she sells, haunted by the mistakes of her past and afraid of what her home has become. Henry, freshly laid off and back living with his parents, has plenty of time to watch everyone, especially wives. He knows something is wrong with the couple across the street, but then nothing is quite what it seems, and sometimes you miss what's going on right in front of you. Murder will soon thread its way through this world in ways no one will see coming unless you've been the one plotting it all along. Out of the Loop by Katie Siegel. This is described as The 7-Year Slip meets Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. That's a high bar. For the past 2 years, Amy Teller has been stuck in a time loop. Each day she wakes up and it's September 17. Same day, same weather, same people, same conversations, until one day it's September 18 and Amy is free for 2 years. Before she can celebrate, Amy learns her neighbor was murdered the day before, the day Amy has lived hundreds of times. Amy knows she has to help. Nobody knows yesterday like she does. But acclimating to her new non-repeating life proves to be more difficult than expected. How does one resume their life after a time loop anyway? Assisted by an ex-girlfriend who wants to make their relationship work and a grumpy neighbor who spends his days building Rube Goldberg machines, Amy sets out to track down who killed Savannah Harlow. Intriguing. Robert Parker's estate has a new one. Big Shot. Part of the Jesse Stone world. 23rd, they are saying in that series. Fresh off an acquittal in a multi-billion-dollar fraud case, Ramsey Devlin doesn't think the law applies to him. This becomes apparent when Jesse finds him passed out, drunk, and on the other side of the road in a McLaren worth more than most people's homes. After Devlin takes a swing at him and Jesse swiftly dumps him in the drunk tank, Jesse realizes he's made an enemy. Devlin makes it his life's mission to use his money and influence to provoke Jesse, and thanks to a few big campaign donations, he's got Jesse's nemesis, Gary Armistead, the mayor of Paradise, on his side. Devlin's even got Molly Crane, Jesse's deputy chief, wanting to act on her violent urges. Jesse has every reason to want Devlin out of his town, but when he vanishes and bloodstains are found on the carpet of his monstrous seaside mansion, Jesse finds himself the main suspect in Devlin's disappearance. Suspended from his position as chief, Jesse must solve the case and prove his own innocence, or he might be the one to wind up behind bars. Seeking Sasha by Laura Frost. Sasha lives off the grid. New name, new town, same story. Haunted by a traumatic childhood and the mistakes that followed, she scrapes by with odd jobs. The only rule? Never go home. But when she runs into Cole, her childhood best friend turned cop, the persona she's carefully crafted begins to unravel. As Sasha and Cole rekindle their friendship, Sasha spirals, fleeing from one person who might actually see her. What follows is a razor-edged journey across city streets, vineyards, and forest cabins, as Sasha's fractured identities collapse under the weight of who she really is. All right. End of that row. The Fourth Princess, a Gothic novel of Old Shanghai by Janie Chang. Shanghai, 1911. Lisan Lu is elated when she is hired as secretary to wealthy American Carolyn Stanton, the new mistress of Lenox Manor on the outskirts of Shanghai's international settlement. However, the manor has a dark past due to a previous owner's suicide, and so Lisan's childhood nightmares resurface with more intensity and meld with haunted visions of a woman in red. Adding to her unease is the young gardener Yao, who both entices and disturbs her. Newly married Carolyn looks forward to life in China with her husband Thomas, away from the shadows of another earlier tragedy, but an unwelcome guest, Andrew Gray, attends her party and claims to know secrets she can't afford to have exposed. At the same party, the notorious Princess Masako Kyo approaches Lisan with questions about the young woman's family that the orphaned Lisan can't answer. As Carolyn struggles with Gray's extortion and Thomas's mysterious illness, Lisan's future is upended when she learns the truth about her past and why her identity has been hidden all these years. All the while, strange incidents accelerate, driving Lisan to doubt her sanity, as Lenox Manor seems unwilling to release her until she fulfills demands from beyond the grave. The Midnight Taxi by Yosha Gunasekera. Siriwathi Pereira doesn't quite know where she's going in life. She never expected to be a taxicab driver in New York City, struggling to make ends meet and still living with her parents at 28. The true crime podcasts that keep Siri company as she delves don't do much to make up for the legal career she imagined for herself or the brother she's grieving. When public defender Amaya Fernando gets into her cab, they make a quick connection through their shared Sri Lankan roots. Siri, whose social circle is limited to her grade school best friend Alex, thinks things might finally be looking up with this new potential friendship, but she's suddenly dropped into her own true crime when she discovers her next passenger murdered in the back seat, and she has to call Amaya sooner than she expected. Pinned as the obvious and only suspect and desperate to clear her name, Siri chases down leads across the boroughs of New York City with Amaya's help. But with her court date looming, they have just 5 days to find out who really killed the midnight passenger, or Siri's life will be over before she can even truly live it. I don't think she's the only suspect. The Replacement by Matt Brawley, second in the D.S. Liam Killshaw series. When a mutilated body washes up on Senon Beach, D.S. Liam Killshaw is plunged into a case as dark and unforgiving as the Cornish winter. With the victim's face so severely disfigured that identification is impossible, whispers of a local superstition begin to surface. The killing bears a chilling resemblance to the legend of Bookadoo, a vengeful sea demon said to demand human sacrifice. But myths don't murder people. When a second body is discovered just above the high tide line, Killshaw knows he's racing against time. A missing crew member, a lost shipping container, and a trail of cryptic clues all point to something far more sinister. In a place where folklore and reality blur, Killshaw must uncover the truth before the killer strikes again. The Replacement. The Serpent's Order by S.Z. Estevillo, fourth in the Serpent series. Von Schlong thought she escaped her past. Now Black Nova owns her, an elite off-the-books task force where obedience is survival and failure means death. As their newest assassin, she's unleashed on targets tied to Jackson Riker, a drug lord buried deep in the Alaskan wilds. Her partner, Xander Holt, a former Navy SEAL with ice in his veins, lives by the same brutal code. No attachments, no lines crossed. But as missions turn bloody, the fragile boundary between partner and lover begin to blur, and desire becomes its own kind of danger. Across the country, Detective Anaya Nazario faces a nightmare of her own. A synthetic zombie drug, deadlier than fentanyl and immune to Narcan, is ripping through Los Angeles. Her investigation exposes a network of dirty cops shielding Riker's empire and puts a target squarely on her back. Two women on opposite fronts. One war against corruption and cartel power, and a single truth. Every betrayal leaves a body behind. end of that row. 2 more to go. We can do it. Warning Signs by Tracy Sierra. Oh, goodness. 12-year-old Zach is cautiously optimistic. His father, Bram, whose business is in dire need of cash, has put together a father-son backcountry ski weekend to wine and dine his biggest investors. Schooled in outdoor survival by his mother, Zach is eager to prove himself to the hypercritical Bram. Maybe if Zach shows how useful he is, he can earn his father's love. But Zach knows to be on high alert around Bram, and he sees the way the group ignores the increasingly threatening conditions. For the first time in his beloved mountains, he is faced with the unknown, convinced that something watches their cabin from the tree line, something that leaves behind strange tracks and picks its prey clean. As the adults recklessly test the limits of the outdoors, Zach worries he might be in even more danger than he realized. Could the men around him prove more violent than the unforgiving weather and the strange creature lurking in the dark? Zach will have to rely on his wits if he hopes to make it home safely, but he knows all too well that the wilderness can be unpredictable even at the best of times, and at the worst, deadly. Last one. Right before the bell. A Slow and Secret Poison. 1922 Wiltshire. When V. Morgan accepts the job of gardener at a crumbling stately home in southwest England, she's hoping it's a fresh start. But Harford Manor is shadowed by its own grief and the memories of long-faded glory, its rooms haunted by the only surviving member of the family, Lady Arabella Lasky. Lee is fascinated by her enigmatic drinking game new employer, a woman obsessed with the curse she believes has killed her family one by one and is coming for her next. Her only hope for escape is a local folk tale, the elusive dancing hare that gave her ancestor its blessing and the house its name. But even as V falls deeper under the thrall of Harford and Lady Arabella, her own dark past finally catches up to her in this lush and atmospheric novel. That is it. We got through everything. We got through everything on Monday, so there is no morning show on Friday. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to sleep in an extra half hour. So it's a win-win. I love our mornings, but by Friday, an extra half hour is very helpful. Elena says, good morning. Oh, good. Good to hear you. Good. Just finished reading The Mayor of Maxwell Street by Avery Cunningham. We'll give it to you. Yay. Congratulations. Woo. Good job. And now I'm reading Roadwork by Stephen King. Today is my day off from work. I'm having an appointment to get your pink hair. I'll change my picture to pink. Oh, how fun. Well, have a good time. All right. Again, I don't have any sprints tonight. Our next sprints are tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And after that, our next sprints are on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Hope you guys have a good day. Be safe. Read good books. And as the banner says, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Nom nom. Have a good day. God bless.